Well, while I'm waiting for people to get in here, and that will see what I'm doing. Oh, I better hit that. I don't know why your channel. Let's see here. Okay, look, he's going live. Let's see here. Look, he's got two people on here, so I'm going to start. My prediction for 2021 is pretty a no-brainer. Ori, you got hatefulness in your eyeballs. Well, leave the son alone. He is tired. He just want me to feed him extra. I look forward. The Democrats will have the Senate, the House, and they'll also have the presidency. So therefore, you know, before we get started, I'm a liberal, but I'm also an independent. I don't want to classify myself with the Republican or Democrat Party. So therefore, like I said, I'm an independent, but I'm going to make a prediction. I look for everyone that trespassed on the federal Capitol building and upset the Senate will be prosecuted. The biggest majority of them, you know. I think even on some that actually went past the barriers, they'll have them too that was, causing a ruckus. But that's a no-brainer. Let's see if I can get my camera a minute. But I look for them to start checking into social media. We've already found out they, boy, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Has suspended the president's Twitter account and other social media accounts. There's something wrong with my camera. There you go. But also, I believe that it's going to start affecting the general public on people's tweets and this, that, then the other that doesn't fall with their guidelines. Get a drink. I think, believe me or not, freedom of free speech is about over with. Especially when you start inciting riots or causing social unrest and so on and so forth. That's my biggest prediction on that. And I believe a lot of people that's on social media will be prosecuted. Well, they said, well, that has nothing, free speech. Well, it's only free as much as people give it to you. You see what I'm saying? Yes, we're allowed certain things under the Constitution. But look what happened. Now, was any of that constitutional? Did we see it coming? Yes, I did. I don't know where a lot of people did. I didn't see that it was the extent that it was, but I figured they were going to have some kind of a coup or overtaker or throw of the government. I've seen this for the last whole year. I just didn't make a public prediction. I found this copper wire. Let's change something for just a second. And I'm going to make some bracelets out of it. It's pretty heavy. I got to clean it up, though. But anyway, back to my deal. You'll be seeing that in the future, me sitting here piddling. But I also believe that you're not protected under the Constitution for inciting riots, inciting social unrest. We probably won't be to the extent of China or Russia or something like that, or North Korea saying something against the government. But they are going to be looking into you. And I deleted a bunch of stuff that had to do with prepping because I didn't realize that a lot of them were following the extreme right party. To me, I got into being prepping because I seen how bad it is to do without food and other things in other third world countries due to natural disasters or things out of their control. I wouldn't want to prep just so to help overthrow a government, or especially my own. I prep in case of tornadoes, fires, natural disasters, hurricanes. You know, I want to be the one on the corner and saying, "Yeah, I got extra blankets at my house, and if you guys help me, we can cook up enough food for to feed these 45, 50 people till we get some help." Now, that's why I went into prepping, not on a doomsday scenario. You know, if it's doomsday scenario, we're all screwed. It was to basically help my fellow man with band-aids, aspirins, something might, alcohol to clean their wounds up from a tornado. You know, there'll be, if some big natural disaster hits, we might not be able to get down there with ambulances and first aid equipment and this, that, and the other. My house is still standing, or I ain't gonna call it a bunker, but my cellar, it's just a small one, like 20-man cellar. It's still up and running. I might be able to help. Yeah, do I believe that? Yeah, well, social unrest could happen. I would just, you know, like I told my kids over this last stuff that hit, keep your head down and your mouth shut. You said, don't give any credence if somebody asked you. Just, tell them I don't know. You know, they can't, hopefully not shoot you for not knowing. But the point about it is, I look for a lot of prosecutions. I look for some fuel prices to be extremely get pretty high. I look for a lot of investigations of all your social media accounts. I look for quite a bit of deleting on Twitter, people that will be kicked off temporary or permanently. If they can get the sitting president, off of a social media account, then you ain't very well protected. That's all I'm going to say. And like I said, free speech is only as good as much as they give you. If you have no voice, like Twitter or whatever the rest of them are, I don't know all the rest of them, but YouTube, Facebook, and this, that, and the other, then you ain't got a very, platform to get out. Let me see who showed up here. Hello, Granny. Well, there you go. That's my motto. Keep your head down, your mouth shut. And I would never preach overtaking my government. I mean, I fought for this government, and I respect my government. Now, do I like everything about it? No. Do I trust them every 100%? No. But I do believe democracy should rule. Well, thank you, Granny. But the point about it is, my prediction is whatever you say out there in cyberspace could be used against you. I know this one girl, I've known her all of her life. She was a great Trump's fan. Me and her never did agree on political views. Big boy. I'm going to make some bracelets, Granny. I got some big old copper wire. I'm going to clean it up, soften it up with a torch. I got to move it because my dogs won't get in my lap. They always do that when I get on social media. They're all around me. And but anyway, be careful what you put up there. It's correct to have your social media accounts and this, that, and the other, but never preach on overthrowing your government or storming the White House or the state capitol building. I mean, they will find most of these people that broke into there because they can't wait to put what they did on their social media accounts. Come here, then. Come on, baby girl. They're all piling up. They want their 2 cents. Look here. You can believe this. Let me get you untangled. Baby girl's leaving because she said too many people. Little guy's there. Here's Ori fussing with his son. Right, the switch is right down. Well, I can't even get him. Maybe he's right. There's his head. And daddy's standing on top of him. He's trying to ignore his daddy. But anyway, that makes a lot of sense. But my dogs are about the only thing I'm keeping up with. Thank you for the thumbs up. I want about a bunch more of them. I don't know why when I take with my live stream, they just disappear. They don't They don't come back up on my account, so I have no idea. So that's something to do with YouTube. I don't take them down; they do. They probably don't like what I say. A bit of information. Uh, I've had some friends that's had the first stages of the coronavirus injections, and they had no side effects whatsoever. Headache, dizziness, sick at their stomach, no side effects whatsoever. And that was, and I trust their opinions. You know, they wouldn't lie to me. So therefore, they're going to take the second one in February the 14th, I believe it is. So if you're offered the vaccine, I'm going to take it. I would probably take it. You know, if I was out there, because so far I've seen nobody with any side effects. But my predictions like that on the virus, there'll be a lot of people looked into, and a lot of on the virus that if they're not took the shot, they might not be able to have a job. You know, there's all kinds of things like that. Well, oh, you've not taken your vaccination. We can't have you dealing with the public. That's even a salesman position or a clerk at a Walmart. You see what I'm getting at? I look for that to happen. I look for a lot of people lose their jobs over their social media accounts. Because a lot of jobs now, they want to know about your social media account, if you have any. And they don't believe, no, I don't have any. You see what I'm saying? So they want to investigate who they're hiring. Are they hiring a radical, a right or left wing extremist? Yes, that's a prediction that I believe is going to be. It's just like a lot of people that's prejudiced don't make sure they don't hire anybody with an ethnic background, black, Hispanic, so on and so forth, because they're too prejudiced. And I also realize that most of these people that are, whether they want to admit it or not, everybody's prejudiced to a certain extent. I don't care what color you are, black, white, or what. But this extreme prejudice is what I think fuel this. They're playing. You got to see this. He's playing with his mama. He's mama's baby, I'll tell you that. She has him sport. They got their blankets all thrown off and pulled down. He's saying, come back and play with me. They keep me occupied. I have no time for controlling riots or running riots or anything else. My prediction, like I said, if you don't want to be in the mix, then you better stay out of it. That's what I'm saying, and leave it up to the government, because they're going to go after these people, I predict, with vengeance, with the full force of the government behind it. And they're going to be changing a lot of laws because of it. Fix my phone. And they will. They will change a lot of laws to gun laws, uh, rally laws, social gathering laws, what you can predict on, what you can put on social media. All that's going to be taking effect in the next, probably within the first 3 to 6 months. And by the end of the year, way before, here he goes, by the next term, whoever be a Democrat or a Republican, uh, uh, them laws will be in place. And I'm going to tell you something. The Republican Party hurt themselves severely. Severely. It'll come out more and more and more. They've had ex-senators in the mix storming the White House, a lot of public officials that were Republicans, and so on and so forth. The Republican Party is going to take such a hit. It would be like, quit, Ori, like the Communist Party. We had a Communist Party here in America, and we probably, you still can register as a communist if you want to, or a socialist, or any other thing you want to be. But they're going to take a hard hit and be looked at like a radical, like Al Qaeda. That's what they're going to be looking towards. In the future, oh, that's a radical group to be a Republican. Instead of a conservative group, which they are known for, and I applaud their conservatism. You know, hey, a little bit of libertarianism and a little bit conservatism. It's hard to say that without my teeth in. Uh, but they're going to be looked at in the future as a radical group. Like that Q on the Republican side or that they claim on the Democrat side, the Antifa. But that's what they're going to be looked at. The standard Republican Party will be looked at as a radical group. That's what's going to be so sad. That's my prediction. I got to plug this thing in before it goes dead because that's the only way I can read them without breaking the neck. You know. Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work either. Maybe I can get it down here. Okay, here we go. Got so many chords, it's unreal. What happened? So many chords, it's unreal. Oh, better turn that down. What happened in here? What happened? Well, there we go. I'll plug it up before it goes dead. There we go. Now I can read. You know, that'd be my prediction, and it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be organized, smaller groups for rallies. You will never be able to have that 1 million man march. I think they're going to limit it to maybe around between 5 and 10,000 people. You know. And I look for the lesser. I look for 5,000 or less. You see what I'm saying? They will not give permits anymore for anybody over a certain amount. And they'll have to stay in the area that they say that they're going to like have the rally or have the march. They won't be able to venture off like they did from the rally down to the federal Capitol building. You know. Because that was not where the permit was allowed. And they're going to have to really stand and be stringent with what they say they're going to do. And they might be a lot of rallies and this, that, and the other won't be ever to take place because they're going to make them start having bathroom areas, so on and so forth areas, have ambulances on call. They're going to, all this is going to be in a bill that they're going to put together, in my prediction, in 2021. So in other words, you're going to have to set up about $100,000 to $500,000 just to have your rally. And if you don't have that many people wanting to donate to your rally or have that much money to put into, you won't be able to have a rally. That's like a permit to build something is $35 or something. If you don't have the $35, then you're not allowed to have an add-on to your house or move a light pole or anything else. You just won't be able to get the permit to do anything. And you're going to have to get the permit within 30 to 45 days of your, probably 30 days of your rally. In other words, in advance. So they can investigate it, set up a police force to control it, so on and so forth. So you're going to have to give them like 30-day notice, and maybe longer. It might be a 60-day notice. That's my prediction. Ooh. You know, I believe everybody's looking forward to what's going to be in the future, and they've got their own predictions. It's sort of like a resolution after the first of the year. Oh, I want to lose weight. I'm going to quit smoking, so on and so forth. I only got 1 thumbs up out of 7 people. Come on, people. Of course, it ain't going to count, I don't think, because they're going to take it down anyway. That'd be like the president saying, well, your vote didn't count. But show up and vote anyway. I believe he hurt the Republicans on the renewal of the senators. I mean, not senators, but the senators on their re-election by saying their vote wouldn't count. So the people said, well, why should we go and vote if it ain't going to count? So I think that was part of it. And then his actions, his tweets, and so on and so forth made a lot of people that normally don't vote go out and vote because they didn't want him for the next 4-year term. So therefore, I mean, my prediction in the future is you better, if you're going to run for politics, you better be really considerate of what your voters expect of you. Even if you are, let's say, didn't like what was going on. You will not be able to express your opinions like and make up stuff like they did at this one. The president was saying a lot of untruth. Well, even when they're running for politics, I look for this to change through social media. If you say certain person, uh, uh, you better look into this. You better have really good grounds because it would be like how do they put this? Defamation of character. So if you say anything about someone, you better be able to back it up. And because social media is going to say, no, that is not true. And we're going to delete your account. We're going to take that off of social media. I look for your standard TV channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS, and Fox Network. All of them will have to follow a guideline and not be able to put up propaganda. I look for the laws to change that will prevent all that from putting up propaganda, which stuff is not true or half truths. They will clean the social media and the new laws coming out will clean up politics to a certain degree. Well, I got 6 people. Wow. I had to lift it up because I can't see. Maybe I can see it on this one. Oh, I got 7 people, 6 people. Well, they're bouncing back and forth. They're probably checking in, checking out. But that's, to me, I look for a lot of changes. We hurt, because I'm not a Republican, but I believe the Republican Party hurt their party severely under one man's actions and a few senators. I look for them to really lose a lot of converts. It's like back in the day, if you can remember, that's way back there. There was so many people that was registered and signed up for the Ku Klux Klan. Just take that one organization. And after they did a few incidents, and then they looked down on them, and now their party dwindles severely. I'm just picking them as a starting point. And it's just like and I look for their party to dwindle, that people either say, oh, I don't want to be a Democrat, I'll just be an independent, or I want to change my register to be a Democrat instead of a Republican. Because I look for these red states become basically half blue in the future, And I know your vote is. I'm gonna relax. I know your vote is private, this, that, and the other, but it's hard to keep your mouth shut and your head down when people around you are expressing their views. But I look for, it'll be like the Hitler Youth turning in their parents for their political views when Hitler took over. You don't want to say too much out there because you can lose your job. You don't want to say too much out there because you can have a flaming cross in your front yard. You've got to watch how you present yourself. And there's nothing wrong with being passionate about a subject, but pick the right subject. Pick your battles. You could win the battle, but lose the war. That's what we did in Vietnam. My theory, like I said, my predictions, even if half of them come true, it's going to be rough. Do I still going to be a prepper? Of course. I ain't never going to quit putting food up and supplies up. We don't know what the future brings. They could be rioted in the streets. They could be an independent takeover from a foreign country. We have no idea. But the point about it is, I don't believe America, and I'll state this again in my prediction. will never be taken over by the outside force. It'll have to be taken over by an inside force. We took a hell of a blow as a country. And the Republicans took a hell of a blow because there's a lot of Republicans that I talked to was appalled as bad as the Democrats were appalled, or American, just plain American citizens that didn't even vote. I know a few of them, but they took a hell of a hit, and the most of them had nothing to do with insurrection or storming the White House or anything to do with that kind of proceeding, but yet they are rethinking. Well, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They was ashamed of being a Republican. So will their status on voting or their status on being a Republican change in the future? Only the future can tell. But I predict a lot of them will change over to being either an independent or a Democrat or some other social medium platform. They just did not approve of it, and they didn't want to be associated with it. So therefore, they'll probably get out of the Republican Party. That's my prediction. That's just like if you was going to be associated with a terrorist group, you want to distance yourself from a terrorist group. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, that's what I predict. They'll start distancing themselves. You've already got them right now wanting these senators that was all behind Trump, wanting to socially distance themselves. And they're doing it. That's what they're doing. And now, not that they not publicly can change, showing a lot of what I'm standing with, but privately they're standing with their values of being a conservative. And there's nothing wrong with being a conservative. But now there is something wrong with being a terrorist or a inciting riots and so on and so forth. But I look for them to lose at least 20 to 30% of the registered Republicans. That's what I look for. And it could be more, but at least no lower than 20% will basically abandon the party. Now, I'm not going to say what's right, what's wrong, but that's what I predict. And I look for at least 20% of our gatherings. I'll stay with this 20% for a while, and could be up to 50% on this one. Our social get-togethers, our social gatherings. Thank you. I gotta see who gave up there. Thank you, Kim. Man. I mean, they went after a lot of organizations. We had internment camps. Believe it or not, we had, just like Hitler had concentration camps, we had internment camps. And we put people in these camps and called prisons, basically, for their social, political abuse. In some areas, it was so prevalent, we had them so many, we put them in there just because of their race, and their religion. So they could bring that back. We've got a pandemic that we need to confront. We've got, I look for that to get better in 2021 by probably around 50% better. I look for a lot of people to start taking the shots. And a lot of people, they won't be able to work unless they have the shot, like TB, tuberculosis. We had places where they put people that was infected with tuberculosis, TB, hospitals and islands and so on. I look for people that would not take the shot to be isolating themselves. I look for that to happen. Like, oh, I don't want to be around you, not had the shot. You know, I look for that to take place. I look for a lot of companies, like in the food industry, hotel industry, to take a hell of a hit if they've not had the shot. They won't. Oh, you can't be my uh, ballet man. You can't be my waiter. You can't be my waitress. You can't be carrying my bags. You've not had the shot. You're carrying and spreading uh, the COVID or other diseases. I look for that to be hit the nomad people that live in vans and RVs that are actually have no address, but they're nomads. They travel the country. I think a lot of that's going to be limited anymore through one media or another, that you just can't move freely. We're going to turn into everybody's going to know everything about everybody, and we've got that contact tracing. I look, that's going to be like, okay, these people that's not had their shot will fall under the contact tracing. In other words, and then if they find out, it's like AIDS. They find out they're spreading the disease, the health department step in and incarcerate them, just like they did the people that had AIDS and was spreading the AIDS virus. They can be incarcerated. I look for all these to take place. That's probably true. We're going to lose a lot of our freedoms, but we're going to gain a lot of security. It's just like, how they put this, when 9/11 happened, we had the Homeland Security. Well, we lost a lot of freedoms. You could be taken off planes, refused from having planes, so on and so on. But they gained a lot of security. And the people are going to go for this, especially in Congress and in the White House and in the House of Representatives, since we have just one party all the way through. But like I said, and we're going to be losing so many of the Republicans because they just want to back up. And they said, oh, no, we heard you when they still want to stay in public office, but they'll switch parties. A lot of people do that. But I look for a lot of things to change in 2021 because they don't want to be associated with Trump. They don't want to be associated with what happened at the federal Capitol building in Washington, D.C. So 20 to 30% of the people will distance themselves from being Republicans. And that's what I look for. That's what might happen. Even if they're going to be a Republican, they and stay a Republican, they won't. People will start looking into more of what their action is. They'll check their Twitter accounts, their Facebook, their other accounts that they got. I don't know what kind of accounts are out there. They'll see if they got YouTube channels. They'll start checking their background. See if and from now on, nobody will ever be able to be a president that doesn't show their tax returns. I look for that 100% because there was so many hidden things in them tax returns. Where did you get money from? Who's backing you? So on and so forth. I think that'll all change. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of food shortages. But I think what that food shortage is going backed by is I think it's just like when you send your kids to school, have you got all your shots? You see what I'm saying? They said, well, no, I haven't took the vaccine. They said, well, because they got now where you don't have to be refrigerated so bad. They said, well, we got a nurse on staff that's is registered to give you your shot. You step over there and get your shot, and you can come back in the food line and get your food. You see what I'm saying? They're going to combine free food or federal handouts with the vaccine. I look for that 100%. They might not say if you're a Republican or a Democrat, but they're going to line up free government aid to and a lot of it will withstand on the shot. Yeah, I mean, you won't be able to even get. It's like the courthouses now. I don't believe you'll be able to get in within so many feet of the federal and state capitol buildings anymore. Oh, let me see. My phone's crazy, getting crazy again. Okay. Well, good luck, hon. Well, like I said, I look for a lot of little changes to take place, and it's going to be like I said, the food pantry deals. I think that they're going to make sure that social distancing. I think the health department's going to step in and start reevaluating our homeless situation, our poverty situation. You know, there are a lot of people that can't have a job right now because they ain't no damn jobs. You know, they've shut everything down. And I think what's going to open back up is if you've had the shot. You know, that's what's going to be. If you've not had the shot, oh, I'm sorry, we can't have you coming in and service our customers or so on and so forth without having the vaccine, you know, the immunization. So I look for that to take place. And that's across the board. It don't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, or whatever. Now, like I said, a lot of things are going to contend on what he's going to try first. You know, the new Democratic president, and you know he's got a hell of a job to do. Mm. Let's try to get the code up here. So no, nothing will stay the same. Yes, I believe, like Granny, I believe it. It's all going to depend on that shot. Well, the people I talk to, they work for the United Way or Amway or whatever and they're giving a lot of the shots to these handicapped and people that live in community homes or whatever. And I think they're going to start doing that in prisons where they want the shot or not. I predict that they'll go into prisons since it's uh, what I call a confined area where they have to be there because they broke the law. And they'll vaccinate them uh, to keep things from spreading, and they'll do that against their will or whatever. It doesn't matter. They lost the right to be a citizen when they got themselves incarcerated. So a lot of it's going to descend on the shot because that seems like his number one thing. A lot of it is going to be on uh, forcing uh, solar and wind energy, alternative energies. So I look for the price of coal, gas, heating fuel, gasoline, all kinds of carbon-based fuels to really increase. And that's motor oil, so across the board, maybe $5 a gallon, $7 a gallon, to force people into thinking of alternative energy, battery powered this or renewable energy of this, so on and so forth. And I look for that to really take off really bad. You know what I'm saying? Because the only reason you would go with an alternative energy is what energy you got right now is way too expensive. Right now it's cheap, it's affordable. You've already started seeing the prices of gas go up. It's a lot better than some areas we don't know. But it'll get so ridiculous saying, well, man, maybe I should have bought that electric car or that hybrid car or whatever. but they'll sort of force you into thinking, well, wait a minute. I'd rather have the wind energy electricity than the cold energy electricity. They'll make it where it's so much more expensive to use the coal or gasoline or oil energy than it is to use wind energy or hydroelectric energy or something like that. That'll hit. In other words, people will start saying, "Ooh, you've already seen the advertisements in Texas and other places where, oh, we'll put up free solar panels on your house, and what you don't use, you can revert it back to the power company." They're making it where if you don't do that, it'll be so expensive you can't afford electricity. But oh, you can't live in our city unless you have the utilities, water, sewage, garbage, so on and so forth. It's going to be where we're going to be forced into taking a lot of things that we probably wouldn't want or maybe don't even need. But it's all going to be on the idea of the world's going to get better, you know. So therefore, thank you, 5 and 5. That works out pretty good. I still don't know why I can't get by. If anybody knows how come my videos are not coming up on my channel, I have no idea. They are if I make a video, but if I have a live stream, it don't show up. Well, I'm sure gonna pray that you get that job, buddy. One in the hand's worth two in the bush. But I look for a lot of people be losing their jobs for their political interest, their out uh, outspoken attitudes. You know, uh, it's going to be the time of keep your head down and mouth shut. If you want to keep a job, you're going to have to follow the rules, where it's vaccination or anything else. And hopefully, your Twitter, your Facebook, your YouTube channels don't reflect too much of your political views. You know what I'm saying? And it depends on who's hiring you. Now, your political views line up with their political views. That might be great, but if it don't, you're in trouble. It's just like it's a new form of prejudice. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I only want people around me that think and act the same way I do. But you got to remember now, I'm predicting that the Republican Party is going to start losing 10 to about 20%, if not more, of their party because of this actions that took place in Washington, D.C. I look for a lot of laws to be changed to protect the people in Washington, D.C. I look for a lot of gun control, more laws than we need. You have to make a lot. How do you do that? Because I don't know, Bunny, P Bunny. Well, I pray really that you get that job. That's the most important thing. My live stream's not showing up. Oh well, that's life. But I am curious. That's what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter as long as the people are interested and come by. I mean, I'm not. I'd like to be monetized one of these days, but it really protects me that they don't put them up in a way, because my political views is I believe everybody has the right to vote whoever they want to. Just don't incite riots or incite overthrowing the government. You know, if you're going to and this is the way I feel, it's just personal. Uh, change the way the world works by your vote. Get out there and work for your party that you believe in that much, but don't sit up there and tell lies, and don't sit up there and half truths and so on and so forth. You know, like I said, what I predict, a lot of that's going to be not permitted anymore. You know, and it's just like a lot of these people that said, well, uh, you can't advocate violence and say, well, it's free speech. No, that you could see that what happened. They took the president Twitter account, Twitter, whatever they will call it, away from him, along with his social platform. He's the president. He's still the president for another 8, 9, 10 days. You see what I'm saying? He didn't take it. They didn't take that thing away from me or you or whatever. They took it away from a sitting president, and nobody realizes what that really means. In other words, they basically put him under a gag order. We don't even know if he could be under house arrest for all we know. We have no idea because he's not talking. Yep, I agree with you 100%. I feel sorry for the police officers that had to defend this Capitol building without anything. I mean, really? You had a mob coming at you, and I don't blame the guy for running back up them stairs. I mean, they were police officers hurt. They were police officers killed. And really, I believe that once they went past the barricades and run up them stairs, they should start shooting them. That's my opinion. Only my opinion. Especially when I cannot feel sorry for that woman. She served 2 terms in the military. She knew storming the Senate floor would get her shot. You see what I'm saying? At least you should have knew that. I mean, you're supposed to protect against foreign and domestic terrorism, and that's terrorism. This is 2020. It's not 1776. That was overthrowing a foreign government, the king, to set up a nation of our own. You can't overthrow the government that you're setting in just because you don't agree with the politics. You see what I'm saying? And that'll never take place again because they're going to pass laws to prevent it. You'd be surprised in the next 3 to 6 months how many laws that are going to be passed by the House and by the Senate, and then it becomes a law. You see what I'm saying? Go back and open up some of them civic books. Once it passes the House, it passes the Senate, the president signs off on it, and it becomes a law. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you can imagine for protection will be set up there and signed into law within the first 3 to 6 months. I can guarantee it. That's my prediction. And it doesn't matter, if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever, you're going to have Republicans, quite a few of them, voting, yeah. I don't want anybody coming in here and trying to find me and kill me, because they're going to decide, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good law. It's just like they broke in there and they was hunting for Vice President Pence, and they was going to hang him. Now, who in the hell thinks like that? He's your vice president. He's set up there in case something happens to the president. He gets injured, killed, or mentally incapable to do his job. You have to have a backup. If both of them died, the Speaker of the House, which was Pelosi, would have took over. You see what I'm saying? So if you had your president incapacitated, being mentally ill, which they claim he is, I don't know, I ain't a doctor. Not that kind of doctor anyway. And then the vice president out of control, you would have had Pelosi. Now, is that what the Republicans wanted? Pelosi running the government for 10, 15 days? Yeah. Like I said, a lot of these predictions, I can just see them just like really easy. Okay, I'll have to see that. Thank you very much, Peabody. because I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. What was wrong with that? So I had to set everything for public. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know what was going on there. Nobody would explain it to me, but it's all right. I mean, it's ain't no big. What I'm just telling you to protect yourself. Keep your head down, your mouth shut. Keep the politics at a minimum. Do that on at the ballots. Do your decisions by the vote, by the ballot. I mean, we're going to have a ballot in every 2 years, every 4 years, on and on. I mean, do it where it counts. Do it at the ballot, the public voting polls. That's where you need to do make your changes. I won't. Thank God for you because you keep me informed. Like I said, I thought there was 5 people that died, but I don't know, 4. But let's see. But I heard 5. But you're losing one life. Hell, that's too damn much. I can see that if we had a foreign terrorist with a bomb or something, Al Qaeda or whatever, and a man stepping up and giving his life, but not another American to threaten and kill another American over a political opinion. What the hell have we come to, a third world country? You see what I'm saying? I don't believe that was the way it was set up. We should kill off our fellow man and our fellow Americans. No. No, what she said, she deleted it. And then they're going to tell me, so there you go. No, really, we got to think of ourselves as the only nation on the planet that has a leading democracy. And it was in jeopardy. We about lost our status as a leading democracy. Democracy was under attack by our own people. That's why I believe that that's one of the reasons I believe that the Republican Party would dwindle, like the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Panthers, a lot of these organizations, that didn't have good moral footing. You know what I'm saying? We have to have good moral footing to run this America, run the United States. It'd be like if you bugged out and the people in your party, let's say there's 30 people, kids, women, men, whatever, 30 people, and you have a child molester in the group. Now, what are you going to do? You cannot permit this. The children don't feel safe. The parents don't feel safe with their children. And by the way, it's just damn right disgusting. So if you turn him loose and say he's no longer in my party, he can bring other people back to attack you because of your resources. So what are you up to? You can't say, well, okay, I'm going to keep him in prison for the rest of his life. These 30 people got to watch one person. Your alternative is probably put a bullet in his head and go on about your business. Let God sort it out, but you couldn't take no chances. That's why I believe that the Republican Party took a hell of a hit. We cannot afford a party, Democrat, Republican, or independent, or any other party, taking full 100% control of our United States. And it's ours. Like people that said, well, the Capitol building's ours. It's ours. It belongs to all the people. You're just a small 2,000 people that decided you want to take charge of it. And then there was other state capitals that was invaded the same night. They had basically planned a coup to overthrow the government. It didn't work. Thank God it didn't work. So now we're up to this status. What are they going to do in 2021 to protect the American people and the Constitution and the democratic way? See what I'm saying? That's why laws and things will be enforced more than just, oh, well, he just said that on social media. That's nothing to worry about. He's just popping off. No, they're going to investigate. And actually, people demand it now. You see what I'm saying? They're going to demand, well, so-and-so over here, they're talking all the time, blah, 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 whatever they're talking about. And I feel afraid. Well, they're going to investigate it. It's like picking up the phone and saying, well, wait, they need to do a wellness check on this old man here because I ain't heard from him in 2 or 3 days. Well, they'll also show up at my door. Knock, knock, knock. Are you all right, Mr. Wallace? You see what I'm saying? Well, and then to my age, being 90, they're going to say, well, you need to go to the hospital and get checked out. Well, I won't or not. I feel fine. There ain't nothing wrong with it. They're going to do that, and they got all that social media that they can pull back. It doesn't matter if you delete it or not. Anything you type and send out can be recovered, even these videos. They're no longer yours. They belong to YouTube. All right? And they're under scrutiny by the people that owns the company. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, go on and on and on. That's why they can say, President, we're taking you off. I don't give a damn whether you like it or not. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to be. We got to be a whole nation. There's democratic ways of changing the view of the United States and the world views. If you don't like it, vote. I don't like that, and maybe we can get enough people to vote and say no, we didn't like that. That's exactly what happened to the president. He had a lot of followers, but he had more people against him that was for him, and therefore he lost the vote, and he lost the electoral vote as well. And now he's lost the confidence of the American people, other than a few. Let's say 20 million people voted for him. There's more than 20 million people in America. If 20 million people showed up at the White House to storm the state capitol, that's only 20 million people. That is not the majority of the people. You see what I'm saying? That's just a small group of people that got bought up into his curriculum. He should have, made his apologies, whatever, and we'll get him in 2024. But now they're going to sign a deal that re-impeachment, and he'll never be able to hold any kind of office, not even a dog catcher, if it's voted on. The rest of his life, he will never hold another political office. So, what kind of influence is he going to be? Write a book, his memoirs? He already cost Georgia the Senate. You see what I'm saying? In my opinion. And my prediction, they'll lose more and more as time goes on. They're going to have to think more of the conservative side the more of the liberal side, then they're going to have to think of the conservative side. Even your liberals, some of them are quite a bit conservative, are going to say, well, I better go with the majority here because, I want my election to stand good in 2 years. You see what I'm saying? The only thing I think what they should do, because I don't think nobody should have a lifetime position, I think the Supreme Court needs to have like a 10-year, you can serve a 5-year term, an 8-year term, or 10-year term, and then you should be reelected or restated by the president at the time, something like that. I don't think anybody should have a lifetime position, and that's what I would vote on. Now, do I look for that to happen? No. I look for it to stay the same. is it the lifetime positions. But I'd rather have it change, yes. But I don't look for it in my prediction for it to change. But I do look for the laws to change to protect the Senate, the House of Representatives, your Supreme Court justices, more severely than they got already. Now, if they impeach him the second time, he gets no pension, he gets no presidential security guards, he gets nothing. In other words, he walks right out of there like less than a United States citizen, even though he was a former president. And that's a possibility. Do I look for that to happen? Probably not. I would say that would be about 80% no and 20% yes, but I look for it not to happen. That's not in my prediction. My prediction: the laws are going to change. They're going to force you into having uh, solar panels, wind energy. You're going to have to think more on the renewable side of trash collecting, everything. The whole planet's going to change. Now, for as a lot of this other stuff, I'm lazy to do. Uh, we're going to have to think about water conservative. I'm trying to see if anything else come up. But like I said, I look for a lot of changes. 2021 is the age of Aquarius. And even the age of Aquarius, because even the Bible says, watch the stars and the signs. I believe we're ready for a lot of changes, severely changes. Changes that will change our way of life. You know, boarding a plane, we see a lot of that change. I look for a lot of things to change going into public buildings, going into gathering together. They could limit you on birthday parties to 25 people. They tried to do that during the COVID, 10 people or less or whatever. But I look at that to be a standard and it had nothing to do with COVID. They just don't want big social gatherings anymore. I look, yeah, if he would, but I don't look for him to. In my opinion, he's going to go out scratching and clawing at the casings on the White House door as they drag him out by his heels, like you would try to put a cat in water. I don't believe that. I believe, and I will predict that some of his family members will be prosecuted. I believe Giuliani will be prosecuted. I believe some of the standing senators will be prosecuted. You know, or at least lose their office position in the next runoff. Like I said, I look for him to lose 20% of the Senate next election. Not this one. It's over with. The next election, I look for him to lose 20% of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Also, I look for conservative people be forced into. Well, I meant the conservative people to be forced into it. Well, we looked at Facebook. We really don't want you working for our company because of your political views. I look for that take place. Well, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but now, what do you mean by any better, for this country? I, uh, I don't think better has a term to it. I think enforcing the laws that the people demand will take place. The people spoke due to the election and they didn't want Trump anymore. The majority of the people have spoken. Okay, if you voted for neither, that's your right. You can vote for nobody or anybody. It don't matter. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I believe we got to give him a shot. We gave Trump a shot. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. It says in my Bible to pray for your leaders, and I did that every day. Like, oh, I don't understand his decision, but I pray that he makes the right one. And apparently he didn't. Now, did God hear my prayers? God was watching. That's all I can tell you. He already knew what was going to take place before it happened. Mm. Well, I respect everybody's vote, whichever side they voted for. They had to feel it within their heart. Now, was they getting the right information? But you will have to admit yourself, do you promote violence? Did you promote a forcible takeover of the federal Capitol building in Washington D.C.? Did you permit that? Or would you? I don't know how you put it, but was that all right with you? You know, to me, it wasn't. No. I wouldn't promote violence in a radical takeover of our government. Okay, pay by credit card only. Well, yes, they're going to do a lot away with a lot of paper cash money because they can control it better. You can. It's hard to control when I got the money in my hand by a phone call saying that money ain't no good no more. But wait a minute, I can make one phone call to the Bank of America or NBC Bank or National Bank or whatever you want to call it and say, wait a minute, all credit cards are suspended. Ooh, wait a minute, ain't nobody got no money anymore. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot easier to control the people if you can control the money. And they'll have a better record on it, what you spend it on. Because I believe you get a statement that tells you where you bought it, what you bought, and everything, where you spent the money at. My legs are killing me. My foot went to sleep. Well, a lot of people, I mean, they want to blame everybody but themselves. You know, if you're a Democrat, you can't blame nobody but yourself. You're a Republican, you can't blame nobody but yourself. You're independent, so on and so on. You basically can't depend on anybody but yourself because a lot of people are dependent on their government. Well, wait a minute. I like what old Kennedy said. Don't think what your government can do for you. Think what you can do for your government. And I believe this. The government is there to serve the people. We're not there to let's see, the government's supposed to serve you. You're not supposed to serve them. In a fact, like, okay, the government is not supposed to do anything that the people don't want them to do. They're not supposed to make laws that we disapprove of. They're not supposed to make policy that we disapprove of. The people's majority vote rules. That's why in an election like we had here, we wanted to collect money and raise the city tax a penny to pay for our little town's pool because we didn't want the kids suffering and whatever. So we raised the taxes a penny so we could build a new pool. And the majority voted it in. That's what I believe in. Now, if the majority didn't vote it in, you know, like I said, I don't care. I ain't got no kids, and we voted it in so we could have our grandkids, keep them off the street, keep them something to do during the summer months. See what I'm saying? And that's the way it should go. Now, the town shouldn't just say, well, we don't want a Walmart store here. We don't want a Dollar General here because we want to keep everything, you know, between Buddy and this, you know, whatever, and won't let the town grow. And I see a lot of little towns do that. I'm glad Granny's back too. Ooh, my eyes burning. But I predict, like I said, a lot of changes. Whatever you think is going to do, they're going to change it. And it's all going to be wrapped around the vaccination, security, and your social media status. That's what the three things I look for. Number one, the COVID, the vaccination. They're going to people will be made fortunes and lose fortune. In other words, get a job and not get a job all on if they took the shot or not. I look for security of every building and everything else, especially if it has something to do with. It's a wonder before you can even go into the post office, your regular little post office, they don't have a metal detector and a police officer standing there, cop, they even call it, standing there to see if you can't even bring your keys in. You see what I'm saying? Or this, that, you see what it's going to security if it gets that rough, but it possibly could. And then the other one is your social media accounts. I look for them to really be scrutinized. Well, the point about it is anybody that stormed the Capitol building did not respect anybody's vote. You see what I'm saying? Because they were fed that it was hijacked from them, which was not true. They had all kinds of court documents and everything else. There was not enough discrepancies in the election to overthrow the vote. But that's right, buddy. I mean, all, my best bet, if you and I can predict this, your best bet is to save your money, watch what you put in the checking account, the savings account. It's just like the change. There's such a shortage of change. I want to tell you this short little story. I just got back from courtside less than 30 days ago. I stopped at Love's channels, filling stations, all the way out there and all the way back. And whatever my gas run to, I was paying cash. Well, sometimes it was 20 cents they owed me back to 50 cents, 65 cents, 76 was the highest. And they said, well, you'll have to donate this because we have no change to the Children's Hospital. I said, okay, I'll let that go on for 10, 15, 20 filling stations. And then I seen a guy come in right ahead of me and had bought $5 worth of gas and paid nothing but change. That's what he paid in change. So I said, okay, they owed me 49 cents. I said, well, give me my 49 cents. There's change right there. And the teller didn't know what to do. So his manager, it's a woman, she came over and said, oh, no, we're not allowed to use change anymore. So she took that into the office. Well, the kid was already frustrated. He's probably 30 years old. He said, this is my last day. I already gave my 2 weeks notice, and this is my last day. I'm going to tell you what's happening. I said, okay, tell me. He said, well, first thing, she's stealing, and I don't be involved in it. And what the change that's left at the end of the day, which he said, I have anywhere from 15 to 2,500 people come in this filling station a day. And you can imagine the change that's left over under 2,500 people. I said, okay. She said, that change that came in, she puts that over, and that'll be because they bought the gas. But all this change, it was just up in the air. She's not donating, especially the biggest part of it, to the Children's Hospital. She's just taking the money out of the till, sticking it in her pocket. So I said, okay. So I called the Love's filling station people and told them what I thought by him's statement was going on. And she said, oh, no, they're not doing that. We've got no crooked managers. I said, okay. But I said, can I ask a question? I said, who gets the status uh, refund from your donation for all this money that is being collected for the Children's Hospital? Well, and that would can be taken off their taxes. And he said, oh, the love stations do it, getting the discount. So right there, they're getting a discount. So therefore, we're helping them on their taxes by all this change. You see what I'm saying? That's like what was it? Give your change to the what is that? The feed the children or whatever. If most people give $200 or $300 here, $100, they get a tax break. When you donate stuff, you get a tax break. Well, they were taking the people's donations and getting their tax break off of the people, which is not right either. But you see what I'm saying? So I won't shop at Love's no more. But like I said, sometimes you're better off to investigate what's really going on. You know, don't take anything at face value. I was all behind Trump, be honest with you, investigating the discrepancies in the voting restoration. But when he came back and there was no evidence, he presented no evidence. The courts didn't rule in his favor. I think there was 65, 70 cases that he brought up, and not one of them won. Right there tells me point blank that didn't have a leg to stand on. There was no fraud in the voting. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, his whole expectations of it was false. That's like claiming the news is fake. Well, yeah, they might embellish, but here, there, and God, whoops, I'm going to turn around. But I don't believe it. The news is fake, to the extent that he does. Well, I thank you guys for the thumbs up. I'm trying to get this bag out from under here. This little zipper bag I put my computer in. But no, it doesn't hurt to investigate something. Like, okay, I couldn't help that woman was, according to that guy, was embezzlement off of her company, her being a manager. But there was just something wrong, and I called. And when I found out, what shocked me more than that's their problem, her being an investment and Children's Hospital. But when they claim a tax break from the public that was coming in and donating their change, one guy ahead of me had 91 cents coming back, and he donated all the 91 cents. So that's almost $1. So if he was traveling like I was, he stopped 15, 20, 30 times. That's $15, $20, $30 that he donated to the Children's Hospital, which is great, but he wasn't even getting the tax break off of it. He wasn't be able to claim any donations. Of course, you can fill out a piece of paper and say, I donated this, and and explain it was Love's or whatever, but and show your receipts that you didn't get back, and blah, blah, which is a lot of paperwork. A lot of people don't do that. But the point about it is, when it became prevalent that Love's was taking the benefits, well, that's wrong. But like I said, my prediction is in 3 areas: the shots, the Republican status, and your basically social media. We've already found out, and we should have known this being YouTubers, if we say something wrong, they delete our monetization. I'm not monetized, but I see them do that. I see them suspend their channel. I see them take their channel away from them. So we were familiar with that. In other words, we say something against their policy, they have the right to do it. It's their platform. It's not ours. We're using their platform, so we got to follow their rules. So therefore, how do I put this? Everybody could be subject to not have a channel tomorrow, and we could have state approved social media. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm getting at. How many people I got here? Got 6 people laid up, and I've been on there an hour and 19 minutes. Them three areas is going to take a lot of changes. Now, I believe there will be something else. I believe we'll have some kind of reconstruction between us and China. Hopefully, it's not a war or a conflict of any kind, but we'll have to really look into that. I believe we'll get back with the WHO. You know, he'll reverse, and it's a no brainer. He'll reverse about 75% uh, of Trump's uh, things he put into law, or his decisions or whatever. He'll revote. He'll recount about 75% of them. You know, like the WHO, a bunch of them. And I look for him to re-sign the PAT for the nuclear armistice. You know, with Iran. I believe all that'll take place. In other words, about 75% what the congressional orders that President Trump signed in, that Biden will reverse. I look for that. You know, and there's some things that might take 2 or 3 years to get changed, especially when it comes to the environment. We're going to be dealing with a person that is really in to the environment, global warming, climate change, the whole 9 yards. He's looking 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years in the future. You see what I'm saying? And that's the kind of mindset of a president that we've got now. We voted him in. So therefore, that's what his agenda is. Look what his agenda has been in the vice presidency, even when he, Senate, when he was in the Congress, and so on and so forth. Go look what he ran and believes in, and that's what he's not forgot any of that, you know. Granny, you have a blessed day. I'm glad you came and listened to my predictions. Just an old man's ranting, you know. But I believe that, like I said, it's nice that we can have different opinions. You see what I'm saying? You know, I believe in conversing your opinions with others. The sad part about it is we couldn't even hardly talk to a Republican, a person that believed in Trump. All they want to do is scream back at you. You see what I'm saying? You can't conduct business that way. They was already on the super defensive by just asking him, well, what did he ever do for you? You had to help him out and tell him, well, he's getting free trade with China. I mean, you had to tell him that. Even though they was all up Trump's butt, they didn't even know why they was all up Trump's butt. You had to tell them the things that you thought was good. I mean, I thought free trade with China was great. I actually thought dropping out of the HMO was great because they were taking our money and not even informing us that there was a severe disease out there. They were sort of like semi-covering it up, So therefore, some things he did I liked. I mean, I'm not saying everything he did I couldn't stand. But his followers, they wouldn't even discuss Trump. They just like, you're going to vote for him or whatever. Force you into it, whatever. Well, the shoe's now on the other foot. Let's see how they handle it. Oh, I've already seen how they handle it. They went up there and stormed the state capitol building. They tried to overthrow our government, not only in that state capitol, but I heard 16 others that I don't know for sure. But I heard that our own state capitol here in Oklahoma, they drove around it like the cavalry or whatever, the Indians around the circled wagons and honked and whatever their horns at our state capitol, in protest. It's all right to protest, but it's not all right to have anarchy. And that's what they ended up having was anarchy. And that's not right. That's not the American way. Even though the president came to his senses and said that that's not the American way, was it too late, too little? Everything you made in China source is. But they get free shipping. We did, and when we ship to China, we have to pay for shipping. So therefore, their products are cheaper because they get free shipping. It's one of some of them things, and which is I didn't think was right. The president didn't either. Yeah, he's still our president for another 10 days, or I think it was 10. That's what I'm getting at. I look for a bunch of changes, not here only, but all over the world. Like I said, this is the age of Aquarius, and there will be a lot of changes this year and the years to come. But my prediction is in 3 areas this year: the vaccine. In other words, if you don't take it, you won't have a secure job, and a lot of backlash will come in front of that. And then I look for the Republican Party in the next 2 years' election to to lose a lot of their followers because they don't want to be associated with anarchy and people don't, and being a traitor. And then, of course, you're going to have your diehards. They're going to stay there the same way they always believe because they can't look into what's the truth and what ain't the truth. And then the other one is, like I said, social media. Social media is going to start dictating to everything we do. That they don't like, they're going to take it off. They're going to change it. We're at their mercy to having free speech. So therefore, them 3 areas are going to change, and they're going to change fast and dramatically. It ain't going to be 3 to 6 months before you see a big change. Now, before is getting behind the global warming, social, and everything else, where we're going to have solar panels in every yard and everything else. I look for his agendas. He'll start setting that stuff in play. I look for Obama medical care, Obamacare, to really start off and be prevalent. He's got everybody going to back him because they got the House, they got the Senate, and they got the presidency, and then all the thing they'll have left in a combating of the other way is the Supreme Court. And like I said, if the states don't bring it in front of the Supreme Court will not even be allowed to make a decision on it unless it's brought up by the states. That's something else you need to look into. Just because you don't like something, you don't make it right or make it wrong. But I look for Biden to change a lot of these congressional orders that President Trump signed into, he'll start reversing them the first day he gets in there. And then 3 to 6 months, well, they'd be non-existent. It might take the whole 4-year term to revoke all of them, but I believe at least 80 to 90% of them will be revoked. Now, he's not going to worry about the medal of citizenship. The only thing I think is in limbo that I've really not been thinking too much about is the president's pardons. You can't pardon a person unless you tell what they were pardoned for. I don't believe he can pardon himself, and I don't think he can pre-pardon his children for crimes that ain't brought up against him yet. You see what I'm saying? And no crimes are going to be brought up against anybody, this is my prediction, until he leaves office. You see what I'm saying? Giuliani, the old man's dying, more or less. He's got so much medical deals would be worth prosecuting. But the only reason they probably would, if they do, is just for principle. Yeah, because he helped incite a riot. His son, now I look for him to be prosecuted. uh, Trump's son for inciting a riot or something on them lines. I believe that'll take place. I think the only one safe of not getting in that whole family would probably be his wife and that 14-year-old child and the grandchildren. I think the rest of them is subject to prosecution, in my opinion. But I think they'll only prosecute about half of them. Probably it would be the son, if not both sons, and his son-in-law. Maybe not so much his daughter, but his son-in-law for sure. It could be the other way around. It could be his daughter and not his son-in-law. But we'll wait and see. Because like a prediction, even if half of it comes true, just half, it's going to be a dark day for America. Because we've never brought this much insurrection against America since we had, since 1776, So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to see if I can keep this up. If I can, I'm not going to cry about it. But I guess I have to edit it and see if I had to put it on public or whatever. But like I said, keep your head down and your mouth shut, And if the vaccine's offered to you, take it. Because I think, especially if you are in the serving business, even a salesman, or dealing with the public in any way, even probably a garbage collector, they require you to have the vaccination. I look for that, really one of the number ones. So you might, from what I've heard about the vaccination, the people that's already took the first shot, they had no side effects. But there's 3 or 4 different vaccinations. I don't know which one they took. So there you go. But keep your eye on it and find out. You can find out from foreign countries or this, that, and the other, if it's affecting any of the people. And really, if you're against taking the shot, really do your research. Or even if you want the shot, really do your research. It's up to you. And I appreciate the people that showed up, every single one of them. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Thank you guys for the thumbs up and hit the bell and make a comment. That's how we're supposed to communicate. We're not supposed to scream at one another. We're not supposed to, we're supposed to communicate. It's great to have different opinions. That's how both sides learn. That's how both sides grow, is having different opinions. And if you don't have a different opinion, then say you agree with, but only up to 60% or 80% or 75 or 100%. But there's no sense acting like your opinion is the only opinion. I knew that for years, and the trouble of it is now they believe that they're not being heard. No, they were being heard, but look how they conducted themselves. Right there is why they didn't respect basically their opinion. It's how you conduct yourself. So in other words, if you went in there screaming, hollering, breaking windows, oh my God, you're just going to be considered a radical or a terrorist or whatever they claim to be, insurrectionist or whatever you want to call it. And your whole organization went down the tubes. So there you go. But like I said, keep your eye out for them 3. Never put nothing up on social media that you won't have to eat or deal with later. Let's put it that way. Every word basically is going to be taken to heart, especially this first year. People will forget, maybe not forgive, but it's going to dull over the period of time. The first 1 to 10 years of this here, you'll have to wait till new people come up that wasn't alive when it happened. You see what I'm saying? Right now, the people that are alive when it happened, especially in my generation, like, okay, we fought wars against this shit, and now and they let it take place. You see what I'm saying? Not saying it would never take place, but I didn't want something like that to take place in my lifetime. You guys have a great day. Thank you for showing up. And like I said, I'm interested in everybody's opinion and you guys' predictions. Have a great one. I'll talk to you later.